Alright, hey everyone, welcome to another review from the Modernist Guide. I'm JD, and today I'm looking at 12-Foot Ninja Vengeance. I really like these guys, and they're goofy as hell. They are a Melbourne, Australia-based band founded in 2008, consisting of Nick Barker, Shane Russell, Steve McKay, Rowan Hayes. Their bassist, Damon McKinley, just left about 2 years ago, and they haven't replaced him, so I'm not 100% sure what their plan is there. But long story short for these guys is they're kind of djenty, and djent is just like a type of metal, hardcore metal, that emphasis on really thick, complicated but sound very chunky riffs, like down down to down, like that's the thing, and they got to figure out a million ways how to make it sound super diverse. It got really popular in the mid and late 2010s, and it's still kind of around, but I think a lot of people have given up on it a little bit. I would call 12 Foot Ninja though more of a fusion metal band, which is a word I'm probably going to use a lot. I used it for Don Bracco earlier, and these guys are kind of like that on the other side of the spectrum. They're still wacky, they're goofy. I mean, their fucking name, they're Australian, they're called 12 Foot Ninja. But I would say the quickest thing, this is their third record. Their first record, Silent Machine, back in 2012, I constantly describe to people as Godsmack meets Faith No More or Mr. Bungle. Just these guys are huge Mike Patton worshippers, but they like to simplify things so that they can overcomplicate how many times they shift genres. I really just need to go down like the list of musical stylings that they go back and forth on any given song on here. There's clearly the metal part, but there's some electronic stuff. Their first record had dubstep. This is more of a video game bleeps and bloops kind of stuff a couple times, but they also have a lot of 80s new wave and synth wave, and they love jazz lounge style musings. Steely Dan comes to mind. Every now and then they kind of make me think of Huey Lewis in the News. One song specifically, IDK is what it's called. That's if you want to know exactly what to expect every time from an entire conceptual musical idea from 12 Foot Ninja, just listen to IDK. That's the song where I go, oh, this is the level they go to. They don't go that hard and that over the top, constantly switching 3 or 4 times per sonic stylings every song. But when they go full head ass, let's just salad it as much as we can, it's IDK, and it's wonderful, and it's a lot of fun. I'd say this whole record, clearly from, you can look at the album cover, has like a video game concept album feel, and it's more like talking about stuff. Like, I don't know if they did a musical narrative for Street Fighter or something, is what some of it sounds like, but it's not like over the top chip tune or 8-bit or whatever you know it as, like the Pokemon games. The music isn't to that level, but I think any of this could sound like something that would be put in a video game at any point, and you just kind of pick and choose. Choose your fighter is really how it is. This is probably their most consistent record. Their second record, Outlier, that came out in 2016. These guys take like 5 years every record, and I think it's kind of worth it because they wanted to fill that void that is left by No Mr. Bungle or No Faith No More. They're huge Mike Patton fans, and Long Way Home specifically is just a celebration of all the weird, quirky, dark, menacing cadences that have been sung by Mike Patton on any song you can think of that he's on. It's a really good song that, from just the one line of "thank you for your service, I'm about to go buy a gun and be offended," kind of clearly points out where we are, and we're taking the long way home to get there. So it's clearly about, gun violence, or just societal violence in general, maybe, if you want to be more broad about it. But they do tackle some intense topics, but they're so silly and like creepy murder clown about it, kind of. this whole record and the whole band in their entirety, I think their identity can be summed up with Mike Patton being lost in a forever timeless void of space that so happens to be a futuristic EDM disco, and he can't escape it, so might as well make the best out of it. It's manic, it's wild, they go all over the place, but I think it's still very well put together. My brain is too fast for shit. I'm too dumb, I'm smart. So all of this like constant changing is stuff I enjoy. I know a lot of people who hate that or think if you don't do it too fast, you're just meshing things together and it doesn't work. And I don't see that at all, especially with a band like these guys. It's actually the title track, Vengeance, that made me realize something that I don't know if it's a good thing to say or if it endorses them at all or it makes people want to never touch them. But it's kind of the same way Imagine Dragons kind of does their music, but way better and more creative and earnest. Like Imagine Dragons feels like this really petty big band who just makes a bunch of more enjoyable or accessible covers of soft 80s songs for the cruise that you're on so that they don't get like in trouble for covering or something. But 12 Foot Ninja is the same thing of, oh, we love all these ideas and we want to put them together. But they actually changed them to mean something. And, like, it's not a knock at all. I think people understand what I mean if you just listen to Vengeance. It sounds like, man, what if Thunder wasn't fucking annoying? Right? What if, was it Evolution? Or whatever that other one before or after Thunder, there was like three songs in a row that all somehow felt the same, but you could clearly tell they were different. It's like, what if the guys who made this music fucking gave a shit and also screamed at you about it while just prancing around in, goofy outfits and making silly noises while still having consistent, well crafted song structure. And if that didn't turn you away, you should check out Gone because that is just gent Daft Punk. Like, it's not any of the signature Daft Punk stuff, but it's that dancey electronic soul feel that was all over Random Access Memories, but metal. And it's wonderful and it's very lovely. Culture War, despite the name, has a mariachi breakdown, which is fun. Uh, is not 100% sure what it's about, but I can take a few guesses. There's also some amazing vocal harmonies across this record, but they're not like the traditional vocal harmonies that a lot of people like. You can definitely tell the way this guy hits his high notes and the way he soars. He has a beard. That's how I can best describe it. It sounds like a grown ass man who's not going to do falsetto, but can still hit some pretty good notes, and they layer it so wonderfully. Very specifically, Dead End and Shock to the System even have some of the best vocal harmonies. If you like masculine vocal harmonies, which I think is very unique, especially in metal, then you should give that a shot. Because I'm not 100% sure if there's anyone else out there that does it this way that isn't, hitting alto or falsetto. That's not what these are at all. And they're still very wonderful, at least to me. They actually end perfectly with a soft song called Tangled, and it is exactly, man, it's kind of romantic, but it's still dark, and it's like you're nothing without me kind of thing. It's a song about someone who left, basically. But it's slow and it's just done really well, and there's no tricks this time, there's no changes, it's straightforward, but it's still so immaculate. It's really good. I really like this record. They're improving constantly. Again, their second album I think wasn't as catchy as their first, but it still had really, really good attempts. But this, I think, was a huge course correction in figuring out all the wackiness they enjoy while making it very comprehensible. And I think still very accessible. And I think accessibility is important for bands who want to push the boundaries of genres, especially like metal, which this is a perfect example of a record to me of what metal is capable of when fusing with other musical ideas. I don't believe in the whole throw it against the wall and see what sticks kind of nonsense. This isn't random for random's sakes. They have figured out how to put it together. And if it sounds too weird to you, that's fine. For me, this is a solid like 7.5, 7.75 maybe. Almost. I actually uh would really like another song or two maybe. And they kind of sound a little samey sometimes. But that's because they figured out their main bass sound. Their main bass sound is metal, and they have figured out how to fuse it and add on all these other wonderful things. So, yeah, that's it for these guys. I'm always probably going to be a fan of whatever craziness they do. If they could do another straightforward record, or if they just lose their minds and do every song like IDK times five, and it's even more like incomprehensibly all over the place, I'll probably still love it. So that's it for this one. Please like and subscribe and tell me what you think if you end up listening to the record or anything like that. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.